Welcome to the April 21st, 2026 Portsmouth Police Commission meeting. I'd ask Commissioner Fernald to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And is there a motion to accept the March 17th minutes?
I make a motion to accept the March 17th meeting minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And now is the opportunity for our public comment. Seeing nobody here and not being aware of anybody online, going once, going twice, sold. So we'll move on to new business, and we've invited Welfare Director Judy Carnes to talk to us about the homelessness issue in Portsmouth. So thank you very much for coming. I know it's after hours, so we'll try not to keep you very long.
That's okay. Thanks for having me. Thank you, Commissioner. I put a little together. I saw Brooke's presentation. Nothing like Brooke's. She did an amazing job. But I just wanted to talk. These are numbers of fiscal year to date for welfare. It goes July to July, as you know. So I've had 38 unhoused clients. They could be individuals and or families. Of that 38 that have come for assistance seeking shelter. That does not include, I need a bus pass, I want a share referral, things like that. These are people that are seeking shelter. 158 total contacts could be interviewing, vouchers, helping filling out forms, things like that. Of those 38, 24 accepted shelter. Out of that 38, 5 refused shelter completely. Out of the 24, 3 were exited from the shelter. Out of the 24, 4 voluntarily left. 7 are people that shelter was full. We put them in motels. Once shelter became available, they left and refused shelter. And then I had 2 families that have been self-maintaining in a motel for years, but they just needed some temporary assistance because of medical reasons or whatever happened in their lives. So that's kind of a quick rundown. And then the next slide is just the people that I work with. I work obviously great with Brooke and the Seacoast Impact Collaborative. I stole this from Maria at GoodWorks. We meet quarterly. The directors meet quarterly. They represent, and then they send representative staff quarterly. So everybody is on the same page. We learn to do soft handoffs, and I can reach out to Gather and talk to Ken anytime I want, and Mary, and it just makes life a lot easier. I can talk to Kathy and help with the fuel assistance applications and things like that. This one I just pulled today. I was putting numbers together, and I just went to apartments.com. Anything under 1,900 or under, there was 4 spots available in Portsmouth. And there wasn't, if I made the search any better, it didn't look any better in any other town either. But 1,900 is above what they consider market rate. Right now they say 1,700 is market rate. So, and there's nothing under 17. So I just thought that was substantial as to why we're becoming unhoused. So people that still have the money, they just can't find something. I'm a selectman in my town, a tiny little town of Rollinsford, and we're trying to get a new highway person, and we're worried about them trying to find affordable housing if they move this way. So we're running into the same problems. And then we do a lot of case management, filling out forms, applications, fuel assistance, housing applications, food stamps, Social Security disability, and what they call APTD, which is Aid to Temporarily and Permanently Disabled. It's cash assistance while you're waiting for your Social Security. Lots of paperwork to help them navigate that. We have a community care team. Your last page is the form that the client fills out, and this allows me to talk to all the other agencies on the back. It tells you who we're allowed to talk to and not talk to. The client can pull it back anytime they want, but it just makes life so much easier when we're trying to coordinate care, trying to find somebody, trying to wrap around services. If they're willing to sign it, it makes life a lot easier. And the community care team meets monthly. Portsmouth has a community care team, Exeter has a community care team, and Stratford has a community care team, and I sit on all three. Portsmouth Regional Collaborative, which I spoke about earlier, they meet every week. And then, this is Squala. It's the Seacoast Local Welfare Association Alliance. We call it Squala. And we have monthly meetings, and it's all the welfare directors getting together, case management. What are you seeing? What are we seeing? How can we do this better? Better handoffs. So that's monthly. And to date, I have secured 8 security deposits for new apartment rentals, which is, in 9 months, that's at least almost one a month. So with the market rate that it is, it's a really good number. So.
You entertained some questions?
Sure.
Commissioner Fernal, Commissioner...
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. Jody, thanks for coming out.
Thanks for
Nice
having me.
to see you. I don't know that we met yet. Thank you for what you're doing. So that slide with the apartments.com data,
Yeah.
the 4 properties, 1,900 or less.
Yep.
Are those family rentals, or are those even single, like one bedroom?
Both. So Patriots Park, Winchester Arms, not Winchester, it's right next to the bowling alley. But they have studios up to 3 bedrooms. But even these that are available, there's still an application process and a wait. These are just regular, and that doesn't include housing numbers or anything like that. These are just straight regular apartments.
And how many of the people that you work with are families? And the reason I'm asking is I sit on the board at Haven, and it's almost always family housing issues. Is that what you're finding as well?
The people that are families are usually already housed. They're already at either PHA or an apartment, and they need assistance for whatever reason that month. Welfare is a state law. It's RSA 165 that if they cannot support themselves, it is the city's job or the town's job to help support them. So most of my families in Portsmouth, and I've worked in Dover, Rochester, and now Portsmouth, are already housed. They're just hitting a bump in the road. A lot of mine are individuals here in Portsmouth that I deal with on the homeless basis or unhoused basis. But if you're sitting on the board at Haven, that is always, there's usually family dynamic there that is hard to navigate.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else?
Do you think, have you seen a significant increase in unhoused?
The ability to stay housed, yes.
Okay.
So what
yes.
I'm finding is that people that have lived in their apartments for 15, 20, 30 years they just don't make enough anymore.
Wow.
So we have a lot of seniors that are, their Social Security is $2,000, their rent is now $1,800.
Wow.
So, and they've lived there for 30 years. They've applied to housing, and the senior housing for Portsmouth,
The long wait.
Atlantic, Lafayette, and Connors Cottage are not even taking a wait list. They're closed.
Wow.
So we have no senior housing available unless you go to Margison or Feaster, which is senior and disabled.
Yeah.
So that also moves the disabled as well. So I was interviewed by WMUR a few months ago, and they said, "What do we need?" I said, "More senior housing," because we have people that are in these beautiful homes and they can't maintain them, and they're on the housing list waiting to get into a senior apartment because they don't want to mow their lawn anymore. and they're ready to sell their home, but there's nowhere to go.
Wow, okay.
So if we put more senior housing, which one-bedrooms are the most expensive to create, if you're a contractor, from what I'm told,
Really?
and because you're still creating a kitchen and a bathroom. So that's what they tell me. So, but if we had more senior housing, people would be moving out of their houses and into senior living, and that would free up some of the market, in my opinion. And that's what I see in all three cities.
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
you're welcome.
Just trying to get a better understanding of everything.
Yeah, when I win the mega bucks, I'm just going to put in senior housing.
Okay.
So we're trying, in my little town, we're trying to get a new town hall, and I'm like, we can put senior housing in Old Town Hall.
Maybe we could do that with the old police station.
Right, right.
A couple questions. You've talked about the, a portion of the unhoused in Portsmouth are increasingly becoming the elderly. What's the breakdown of, for lack of a better word, the demographics of those who come to you or are unhoused in terms of age, gender, suffering from a substance abuse disorder or a mental health issue? Can you give us a sense of what you see in that population?
Number-wise, substance use, I can't diagnose from what I see or interpret. There's a lot of cofactors going on. There could be some mental health along with substance use. There could be some domestic violence we don't know about. And then there's also the ones that are just not ready. Like, I've had people referred to me, even from our highway department, and they said to come see me, and I offered shelter, and they said no, but we had a lovely conversation. Came back a couple months later, offered shelter. He said no, he wasn't ready. I got a call a couple weeks ago, Jode, I'm ready. I said, okay, I got a bed for you. And he went, he called me last week, he said, thank you so much. And we just have to be ready when they are, so.
In terms of the age range, any?
Oh, sorry, the age
That's
range? It's probably 50-50. The elder, depending on their age, I will keep them in the motel because they're not shelter suitable. You can't have an 84-year-old woman in a shelter that's asked to leave at 8 in the morning and not to return till 4 at night. So I have a couple of cute little elderly people, they're adorable, in a motel waiting for housing, and we're doing their applications, and we're doing their, making sure that they're getting all the services that they're entitled to. So, and they've been here their whole lives.
And then you say 50-50, the other population tends to be under 30 or
I
just
would
all over
say,
the place?
30 to 40, 30 to 40-year-olds. I have a lot of people that have a hard time holding down a job, multiple jobs, multiple firings, multiple quit, just having that hard time navigating life. So trying to hook them up with either Seacoast Mental Health or Job Corps or Vogue Rehab, where they initialize your skills and help you find something that's more suitable. I have a lot of people that don't like to be around people, so they want a job where they're kind of by themselves, and so finding a nighttime janitorial job is great for them. And so just trying to find that right fit for the right person sometimes.
Do you have a feeling of how many people are living in encampments, just their own or with other people, that are not coming into you? I understand you wouldn't necessarily know how many there are since they're not coming in, but.
Right. I know that they're out there. They don't normally come to me unless they want bus passes. So we give out 3,000 bus passes a year that Coast gives us. So Coast gives us in Dover 3,000 bus passes each year. And we give those out to all of our clients that need them for either going to job searches or treatment or doctor's appointments or the grocery store or whatever they need. But they're just coming for bus passes. They don't want, I try to find out where they are, and they're not going to tell me where they are. They don't want to be found. And once again, meeting where they are. What can I do for you today? And so sometimes I'm ready to help them when they are, and sometimes they just want a bus pass, and I'll see you later.
I think last question, what's your office's relationship with Crossroads?
Oh, great. I just met with them last week. We have a great agreement with them. I hate to use the word reserve beds. We have 2 male and 2 female beds reserved at all times, specifically for my office use. I can call them up and I say, I have a person. Can we do an intake with them tomorrow? They say yes, if the bed's available. And I'll put them up for sheltering for the night. They go to Crossroads usually the next day. So if the bed's available, I only got 4. I would like to buy more, but that's not feasible.
Thank you. This is very helpful. Chief? Deputy Chief? I
yeah.
promoted you briefly.
Thanks. I just wanted to take a quick minute to thank Jody for her partnerships with the police department, and in addition to all the things that Jody does for the city, the relationship that she has with the police department, in particular our social worker, Brooke, is probably, if not a daily, more than one time a day interaction. In fact, I had just heard a story last week. First I heard it from Jody, and then I heard it from Brooke about Jody had mentioned about the kind of work she does with the elderly folks in the city. And I'm not sure where the information started, but Jody and Brooke collaboratively worked with information they had about an elderly resident of Portsmouth who was effectively being extorted to buy a vehicle she could not afford, when in fact she ended up purchasing the vehicle under what would probably be considered elderly exploitation. Brooke and Jody became aware of this. They joined forces, if you will. I believe they actually traveled to the dealership together.
I wouldn't want to be the dealer at that point.
Yeah. They ended up nullifying the sale and canceling it on behalf of the elderly resident. And I had heard from Brooke last week the comments that the elderly resident had said. You know, she said, I didn't know how I was going to afford this, and if I had to pay for this vehicle, I'm afraid I would have harmed myself.
Yes.
And that's a pretty heartwarming story, and it kind of shows the impact that, you know, teamwork can have. And that happened just, I think, last week, within the last 2 weeks. So to hear a resident say that who had no other help was really a credit to Jody and everybody involved. So.
Yeah, my collaboration with Brooke is amazing. I literally was on the phone with her 3 times today, just today. And I keep saying we need to have our offices closer. So.
The more understanding I gain about the issue of unhoused people, wherever it is, the more I understand all the research I've done and the conversations I've had, that it takes wraparound services. It takes you, it takes Brooke, all the people you have relationships with. That's what actually is what I understand is the most effective way to deal with it. And I think, to echo what the Deputy Chief said, we're lucky in Portsmouth is that you and Brooke and many others are providing a version of that. And so thank you very much.
You're welcome. We're very lucky. I've worked in 3 different cities, and I love the city. It's amazing. So.
We'll let you go now.
All right. Thank you so
very
much,
much.
guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Facilities update. We have not had a meeting of the Blue Ribbon, Municipal Building Blue Ribbon Committee since our last commission meeting. There will be one next meeting next Wednesday at 3 p.m. in Conference Room A here in City Hall. I encourage the public to show up for that. It matters tremendously whenever somebody from the public speaks, which they are welcomed and invited to do so at these meetings, when they speak about what matters to them about a new police station, a remodeled police station, a remodeled city hall process. All of that is really important, and community input is essential. So I encourage you to appear and speak up. Dispatch remediation update, Deputy Chief.
Sure. So just this morning, actually, at 7 a.m., we moved our dispatch operations, which is both police and fire dispatch, from police headquarters to Fire Station 2 on Lafayette Road, which functions as our redundant dispatch center. We're using it as our primary dispatch center. The expectation is that work will begin in dispatch just around the first week of May. Start with remediation of the dispatch center, followed by a restoration and improvement of the current conditions in there, including new consoles, removing the raised floor, improving the HVAC and the temperature control in there relative to heat and humidity, putting in a full kitchen and a number of other improvements. If all goes as scheduled, we hope to be moving back into that space by late September or, late August or early September.
Thank you. Any questions for the Deputy Chief? Chief's report. Chief is at a conference involving drones as first responders, which is, and we're seeking some federal money to help with that program. It's one way to get, my understanding, it's a way to get a drone to a site of an incident before even the police can get there, so we can begin to figure out what is going on and what might be needed. It's a work in progress. We hope to get federal grant money to implement that. So that's where the chief is. And so, Deputy Chief, your agenda items?
Sure. Thank you. First off, I'd like to take a minute just to make some comments. Last week was National Emergency Communications Dispatcher and Animal Control Officers Appreciation Week. Last week, we recognized Public Safety Dispatcher Appreciation Week and Animal Control Officer Appreciation Week, and I'd like to take a moment this evening to acknowledge both. Our public safety dispatchers are the calm, steady voices on the other end of the line during moments of crisis. They serve as the first point of contact in emergencies, gathering critical information, coordinating the deployment of resources, and providing reassurance when it's needed most. Their professionalism and ability to remain composed under pressure are essential to everything we do. Our animal control officer also plays a vital role in protecting our community. She handles a wide range of situations with care and professionalism, safeguarding both residents and animals, often in challenging and unpredictable circumstances. These roles may not always be highly visible, but they are absolutely essential to public safety and to the quality of life in our city. On behalf of the Chief of Police and the entire department, I want to express our sincere appreciation to our dispatchers and animal control officer for their dedication and service. We are grateful for everything they do.
To briefly add to that, the dispatchers, as the Deputy Chief said, are the point of first contact for a huge majority of the calls the police department gets. And how they are treated in that moment makes such a difference to how an individual begins to process what they're going through, what they've seen, and that our dispatchers particularly over the last 4 or 5 years where we've really struggled to staff that office. It's a very, very demanding job that you need to be calm, cool, and collected, and you need to be sorting out where do I direct this next and how do I direct it. It's a high-pressure job that they never get paid enough, but they're incredibly valuable. So we have a wonderful dispatch department, and in terms of the animal control officer, boy, what a hard job. You know, other than our children, our pets are, we feel more strongly about our pets than anything else in our lives. And so it's hard to be the one managing animal control issues when there's a depth of feeling of those, very often with those people you're dealing with. So my compliments both to our dispatchers and our animal control officers.
Well said, thank you. Moving on next to the crime analyst report. Looking at statistics from April of this year compared to the average for the last 3 years. Overall calls for service are at 6,665, which is a 35% reduction. Arrests are from 216 average to 165. Offense reports are 564 compared to 485 in 2026, down 14%. Reportable motor vehicle crashes are down to 90 from 107 as an average for the previous 3 years. Motor vehicle stops or related offenses are down quite significantly at 40% to 1,076, and that's we saw a significant drop in that, particularly the last couple of months of this winter due to road conditions and a good old-fashioned winter, and combined with the fact that we're still having staffing shortages and not having the number of officers on the street that we're accustomed to.
Any questions concerning the crime analyst report?
I think Deputy Chief answered the question that I had about why everything was down.
Okay.
Thank you.
Certainly. Moving on more specifically to traffic-related statistics for the month of March. Excuse me, those statistics I read were from March, not April. We're in April now. So March of 2026 stats, total motor vehicle stops conducted 482, which is 219 more than February, which kind of shows the difference between snow on the ground and not much snow on the ground. Summonses, we issued 19, which was 16 more than in February, and reportable motor vehicle crashes 26, which was 5 more than February.
Any further questions?
And Karen will give the financial report, or is that to you?
Sorry.
Would you like to give the financial report?
Sure. Per usual, we're currently tracking 73% through the fiscal year, and we're about 3.8% below that cap at 69%. We're doing well on all fronts, and despite some line items being way over or under, if you look globally at the division department program, like patrol, detectives, whatever, they're all tracking below the cap, even though they have some line items that are over and under. In terms of the FY27 budget, what you had voted in was $16,452,953, which was over 9% increase. When we had our meeting with the city manager and the city finance director, we moved $210,400 out of our budget and put it into the non-operating. It's going to be in the line or near the line where our tasers, body cam expenses are, because they're just constant and annual. The chief also reduced the other operating by $12,571, basically some IT training, excuse me, and the city Finance Department also reduced the amount that we had to set aside for the cybersecurity position. We pay 20% of the city's cybersecurity position, and that got us down to $16,225,957, which was a 7.73% increase over FY '26. And I mean, the major driver there was the MOU that we signed for the Local 11. That's pretty much running a good portion of that, as is health insurance, which was $203,000. Let's see. And workers' compensation went up $51,000. So those are all big drivers to our budget this year. Obviously, next year it won't be so dramatic, but just because we had to make up a lot in this particular budget.
No, just to ask a question about the MOU. I had some understanding that the city council had an opportunity to use our current budget to finance more of that,
Correct.
and they chose for their reasons.
Yeah, I mean, we got about half. They upped our budget in FY '26 by about half of that amount that was needed. And so when you're compounding and going to the next year, you have to make up that other half plus do the new. So it just makes a big impact on our budget. And it'll be a one-year thing. And then, things should be normal when we go into FY '28.
And FY '28, I think will be, during FY '28, we'll be negotiating a
New contracts.
new contracts.
Yep. So then on our grants, again, we're still waiting for the congressional spending that got approved for the IT infrastructure and the ICAC program. We still haven't gotten that, but both offices have reached out to us, and they're reaching out to their counterparts in Washington to push things along. We submitted a JAG grant to the county for $13,827. Those funds will be used to upgrade and unify our rifle inventory. I don't think any of you were on the commission at the time when we used Geraldine Weber money that we had, and we upgraded all the guns that everybody wears to a uniformed format. It was explained to me that our rifles, we have different models, and you never know what you're going to get when it's in the car. So we're going to unify all of those into one model. We'll probably have to come back to you for about $5,000 to $7,000 to use of the Geraldine Weber money to make, because it's about $21,000 that we need. So we'll be coming back to you when that grant is approved to ask if we can release those funds for that too. And then we just received our application for the New Hampshire Highway Safety Grants, and the chief has me looking into certain things, more help for the building, the police facility. We're not sure what's going to happen there, but he's got me looking into some other things there. And we made a friend in Concord, so they're going to be searching for money for us as well. So, and then the strategic plan's still in process. So,
Just out of curiosity, is there restrictions on how the Geraldine Weber money can be used?
has to be used for equipment, and it has to be used for police equipment, and then it has to come to you to approve that. So,
Any questions? No. Thank you.
yep.
Patrol Vision Court Office Report, those are all in our booklets. The next regular meeting is Tuesday, May 19th, 2026. As always, check the municipal meeting calendar to make sure that hasn't been updated in any way. Unless there's anything further for any member of the commission, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Let's second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.